Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we're going to be talking Stranger Things, Season 1, Chapter 5, The Flea and the Acrobat, and Chapter 6, The Monster. And we have a special guest joining us today. AK, how are you doing?
I don't know that I'm doing quite well at all, actually. As you can see, I am trapped now in the Upside Down, and it's raining fire and brimstone. So somebody find 11 and tell her to come get me.
Yeah, 11 step away from the Egos and go find AK. Johnny will be with us in a few minutes. He's just getting ready. But I know I asked this question to Johnny. So, AK, when did you start with Stranger Things? Were you a first season watcher or
Oh,
like?
yes, I was definitely a first season watcher. As soon as I heard about the show, started doing research about it, and seeing what they were going to do, and I said yes, and been hooked ever since.
Nice, nice. And yeah, for me, I explained it in the first one. And as you know, I've seen bits and pieces of Stranger Things like online, mostly Twitter, but I've never like obviously delved into the world until we started this. So I'm like a in between, like a first time watcher and a person who's experienced the world. So yeah, we've been doing that, and yeah, it's these two episodes were nice bookends to kind of put together, especially
Hmm.
near the end of the first episode we're going to talk about. But yeah, so as of the last episode, Hopper has broken into the lab and he enters the quarantine section, but obviously gets found. Um, and it doesn't go so well because, he gets found, even though he's trying to look for Will. Um, and he seemingly finds a room where a child has been living, um, or was living. So obviously, this is Eleven's room where she's been staying. Um, and my kind of first impressions on it, it's like, yeah, we have to have Hopper go and investigate. You have to have some adult who's dealing with this because you have all of the different age groups, and yet you have Joyce who's dealing with it um, on like the parental, like mom perspective, but then you also have uh, Hopper who's dealing with it because he's dealing with it kind of on both levels, obviously from a professional standpoint as well as being sympathetic to Joyce, um, and yeah, like the government is bad. Problem like they're up to something, and you
They
just
are up to
don't know what to
everything.
do. Mhm.
They are
What
up
did you kind of
to
think about
everything.
Hopper in this kind of beginning part?
I like Top. He, like you said, he has a professional investment in it, but it's also a very personal investment just because, him and Joyce grew up together. So he's definitely worried about his friend, and this kid has gone missing on his watch while he's sheriff, and he, can't let that slide. He's going to do anything he can to get Will back. And it's also even more so compounded with him because he lost his daughter at a very young age. And I think he's still trying to find ways to cope with that. And the situation that came out with 11, it's almost like it gave him a second chance, a second lease on the goodness in his heart that he's blocked off for how long. So I thought it was great. Like he totally got his Mission Impossible on and went in and found some answers. So I like the whole sequence of him getting down there.
Yeah, we'll kind of, I guess, uh, stick with Hopper for now. Um, yeah, he comes across. Oh, Johnny.
Ah, there he is, the man himself.
Yo, what's
His
Yeah,
up? What's
wonderful
going on,
introduction.
everyone? Uh, Thank you there, Sasa, for having me on and being patient with me.
no problem.
AK, What is good? I really do not envy your position right now. All the blood would have done rushed to my head. I would have passed out. So I got to commend you for that. I guess I'll just say what's up to the chat real quick. What's up, DA Peter Griffin? Giggity, giggity. Also, DA, what's up, man? What's up? um, Blue Rooster, how is it going? Linda R, what is up? Dornish Winch, what is good? How are y'all doing tonight? Um, I don't know if I missed anybody or not. I can't see that well. I mean, just look into my dead eyes. Hopper, yeah. To both y'all's points, very, very nice points. He's trying uh, to build on what you were saying, AK. I think he's also trying to fill the void as well. Keeping doing something amazing, like his voicemail says, and probably out doing something incredible. And he has to fill his mind up, and this is probably the perfect damn thing.
Right.
It's the only thing I could add to that.
Like he didn't expect to have to come back home to his sleepy little town where it's boring and nothing ever happens, coming back from the big city, and all of this random fuck shit starts happening. And you can just tell by looking at him sometimes, it's like, what in the hell is going on here? This is not the town that I grew up in. What are you children on about with this damn game? He almost has the nodes of like the fed up old man that yells at all the kids to get off his lawn and shit. But I love him. He's such a great character and played very well by that actor.
Yeah. The fact that almost he's a young person but has like that old, not young person, but relative to like the people that he talks to about the disappearance of 11. It's just like that the young guy with the old soul, like you're saying. And yeah, Hopper, he's doing what he thinks, I guess, he would want someone to do for his kid if that a situation ever happened. So yeah, he just
like if I was ever kidnapped and Liam Neeson was not available, I'd call for Hopper.
Hopper's the backup.
Pretty much.
You wouldn't call for Tom Cruise? I mean, what's wrong with you?
No,
Help me, Tom Cruise.
I'm good on Tommy Boy.
Tom Cruise.
Oh, man. We don't even have to elaborate on that. Everybody knows.
Yeah. But yeah, we see that Hopper, after being knocked out by someone from the government, wakes up in his house and he realizes that it's been bugged. And then he goes and sees Joyce, I think. And yeah, he goes and sees Joyce, I believe, in the next episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. They drugged him. He woke up in the house. He tore everything up looking for the bug. And I think they showed him calling his ex-wife for a bit. And, I think once he hung up and he was getting ready to walk out the door, I think that was her calling him back to check up on him and, see exactly what's really wrong with him, because he wouldn't have called her half drunk without reason to. And I think while she definitely always still wants to keep her distance from the pain that the memory of him brings, she still shows that she does care about him, because like I said, I'm pretty sure that was her that called back.
Yeah, and a lot of times stuff like that doesn't work out because seeing the other person reminds you of the intense pain that you've went through. It's very rare that after a child dies or something of that nature happens, that the people can stay together, just because it's such an emotional hurdle. It's not anything against either person either. It's just and in Hopper, you see what he's done. He's kind of drowned himself in alcohol. So, he hasn't helped his situation. And I'm sure he started that before they split up. So,
yeah, because I think after baby girl died, that was basically the beginning of the end for them. And it's sad. I can totally see why it happened. I don't think it was for any loss of love on either side. it was just having to deal with that pain. It was too much of a strain for both of them.
Yeah, because it's very hard, I can only imagine, for couples, especially if that's their first and only child,
Right.
to stay together after something like that.
Yeah, and you can tell they adored that little girl, and she was so tiny and young. Just, feels.
Yeah, so the fact that Hopper's house has been bugged by the government makes him go crazy.
Can I ask you a question too, Sasa? You think the
Yeah.
Demogorgon took advantage of him?
Well, they
On
kind
a
of
lighter
choked.
note.
Well, they kind of choked him. One of the guys from the
Choked
government.
him.
Well, the government choked. The guy from the government choked him out. So I don't think the
That could be sexual too.
Demogorgon got to him yet. But I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think after that he goes to Joyce. I think, and just then he has that conversation. I think in the next episode.
Yeah, I think it's in the next episode, but the next scene here, he bangs on the door, and once Joyce opens, he automatically has a note up saying, "Shush, we got to find out if your house is bugged." And he goes through and tears everything up in there too. I think they found one. I don't remember where they found it. Was it in the phone?
It was in Joyce's hair, because this is the episode where Joyce's hair takes on a life of its own.
Well, in
I can't
his
remember.
house,
It wasn't a phone though, right? I think
in
maybe.
his house it was the light in the bathroom, and then in hers, I think it was somewhere in the phone or near the phone. Which I don't know why it was like. I think it was in the bathroom and then under a table or something in his house. But there's the government. Better watch out, everybody. Go find it.
Brother is watching.
Yeah.
Papa coming back in season 3 too. Not giving you any spoilers. No, that's just what I think. I think the governmente is coming. Anyways.
Oh yeah, they're not going to give up that facility, but let's keep on jumping in.
And yeah, so Hopper and Joyce, they basically now are looking for the child that drew the picture that was seemingly in the room in Hawkins' lab. And they've deduced it to a woman who suspected that her child had been kidnapped, daughter, Terry Ives. So then they go on a mission. It's like to go and find this mysterious woman who I guess lives in the next town over or something like that. Because there's
I don't think that she was very far away. That sounds about right.
It seems like she was. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, if you didn't see the last Stranger Things episode club, I went over the MK Ultra actual CIA project that was released, how far they went with it, if they actually killed it. I'm sure it's under a different name at this point, but it is very creepy, and that's what this is kind of based off of. You have the government going to these extents, unwilling participants, and sometimes people that are duped into things. I mean, the parents more than likely could have been drugged with LSD. We saw how Hopper was drugged. They would do this so it would just kill your credibility. You would talk like a crazy person, and then they would just make you crazy and say you were crazy. I mean, who's everybody going to believe? Especially at this point in time, the government or just one crazy person. And they're going to more than likely use this against Hopper and anybody else, Joyce, anybody that gets in the way, they're going to try to dismiss them. And this has been the identity of the government as far as cover-ups go. I'm not saying I believe every conspiracy theory, but there are conspiracies. It does happen. So whatever.
Facts.
And you can look
Absolute
up that.
Facts.
All the facts. Yeah. Yeah, so they go and they meet Terry Ives, and she's not as lively or as responsive because she's in this catatonic state. And they basically ask where the daughter is. And for me, like, they deduce the fact that there was tests done And obviously that's leading us to believe that the daughter is 11, because it's pretty much the only person that we have in the show that could be like that. The timeline fits. I don't think there's another girl running around that's like 11. In Hawkins, I think that she's like the only one. So, and it kind of not bothers Hopper, but it's for him, it's the fact that he's now technically looking for two children at the same time. He's looking for Will, and by chance, he's also looking for 11 at the same time. So it's like.
Right, yeah. He finally figures out that the two are actually connected. And that's one of the things I really like about Hop. He is good at deducing things and usually does those accurately. And that, that's basically the crux of the moment with him and Joyce putting two and two together. I have actually always questioned, though, why was 11 the only one still there? Because it didn't seem like any other of the children that were a part of the program were there at all.
I think I can answer this without spoiling because you don't really necessarily find out later anyways. This is what I think. If you go back and look over CIA files, all of the failed experience, they would just either discard these people. Sometimes people would get away from them. Sometimes these people would end up in insane asylums if they didn't meet the exact standards. Because you got to remember, this is all experimentation. So not everyone is going to do everything that they want them to. People may have powers, but they may not benefit what the government's end goal is, and they're not going to just let you go. They'll probably stick you in some kind of asylum, jail, or, what we've seen with 11, she could have escaped, and she did escape. So this may have happened in the past. I wouldn't say every single one of them has escaped, right? But you got to assume at least one other one, I would think, if they got some kind of powers. And we don't know what that is. It can range from everything from something stupid and meaningless to something maybe even more powerful than 11. Who knows?
You could think that the boy that they had used as Will's body double, literally and almost figuratively at this point, could have been one of those kids. They just didn't always have the time to.
Did Hopper cut that body open yet?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Because it's would probably be the next episode, because I don't think I've seen that yet. So.
Yeah.
But they had the burial, though. So isn't that. They had the burial in the episode 5.
They did have burial in episode 5, yes.
So it must have been. I don't know. I just watched
Do you
this.
remember Hopper at this point saying that he knows for sure it wasn't Will?
I can't remember.
Oh,
no, I don't think he did.
I don't think it is yet, because I think because it's buried, you can still get it exhumed for a what do you call it?
Autopsy.
There you go. Thank you, AK, for saving me.
If you remember in the chat, let us know, because I can't remember. But
I don't want to spoil it for you because it's pretty.
Yeah, because there was something with that, though, probably. If that happens, or it will happen, I don't know what that means. But yeah, they go and find the lady, and they said that it was a miscarriage, a late term, or like a late miscarriage, like it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty much right before the baby was supposed to be born. She had a miscarriage. Although that happens, it probably wasn't very common. It's not very common. So that rang all the alarm bells. I was like, yeah. Even before that, I was like, yeah, this is probably like the government obviously took. So you had like probably a C-section, and then took 11, and it was like, especially if it was like 37 weeks, or at least, or at a point where the baby could sustain itself outside of the womb, then yeah, that's why they have 11, especially because she went through sensory deprivation chambers and all that, which made 11 special.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, what do you think about like the whole, um, the finding the, uh, basically 11's mom and all of that?
I thought it was interesting. Like, as soon as you looked at her, you could tell she was in a catatonic state. I mean, her sister did say that, you're 5 years too late to talk to her. And I don't think they got it up until they started asking questions and didn't get any type of response. But I have to go back and look, but I think the lights had flickered at some point. Like, that was her flexing her powers, trying to signal something, but it didn't work the way that she wanted it to. And unfortunately, they couldn't get any answers to the questions. But Hop again showed his skills and he was able to put some stuff together. So they kept digging. And I like that.
Johnny, if you have anything you want to add for this?
I don't know how much I have to add to that part. That's a really difficult thing, and Hop isn't right all the time. He would never tell you that, but but like I said, eventually figures it out, and this is just kind of very heartbreaking. We've said all this before, but I don't want to be redundant. Yeah, I think it is what it is for what we've said it was. Take that.
Yeah. I think that's where we leave off with Joyce and Hopper for these 2 episodes. I think because they're heading back to town. Besides the funeral, which we can start talking about. Back in episode 5, they have the supposed funeral of Will, which causes a lot of drama in the Byers household. And I mean, Joyce is right from this perspective because Lonnie just wants accidental death money from this, and he feels like he can win against the government. And Joyce believes that the kid that's in her supposed son's grave isn't obviously Will, so she doesn't want to try and profit or at least go to trial because she thinks that he's still alive. And yeah, with this, and they the whole thing with Jonathan, how he wants to go to NYU and all that stuff. It just shows that Joyce didn't have the best relationship and marriage, and that you get kind of 2 not deadbeat, but you get 2 unenthused fathers in this. You obviously get the one being Mike's dad, which you and I have talked about, Johnny. But then you also get Will's and Jonathan's dad, which is just a complete other end of this.
Well, I mean, Mike's dad is a very good representation of a gargoyle, statuesque, made of concrete, doesn't move or say anything. And then we have the father of the year. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I do know, we see the potential of Jonathan, and then later we see what happens with him and Steve. But during this, he's trying to be sensible. He doesn't know what Joyce knows, so they're both right in where they're coming from. His mom looks crazy to him. She is just trying to convince him of that, of what's happening, and I couldn't blame a mother for not stopping, even if she wouldn't have witnessed all these things with the lights, with the phone, with the Demogorgon. But everyone else looking out, just like Father of the Year said, there's a damn hole in the wall that she beat in with a sledgehammer. And any normal person's just going to think, holy shit, this it's just batshit. That's what you think. And that's what's beautiful about this, that frustration. You just want to scream at people, nah, she's been seeing this shit. Come on, man. But that's just not how it works, right?
Yeah, see, the thing with Joyce, when the show first came out, a lot of people, that were criticizing it, saying that, her character is crying too much. Well, she just lost her baby boy. What parent would not be that hysterical? Especially
A parent that killed their kid, probably.
well, maybe. But with everything else that is starting to happen, like, is it really too far of a stretch with the evidence that you have to think that maybe, just maybe, this is one of those situations when the random crazy person that you think is spewing bullshit is actually telling the truth? Like, why, and for what reason would she make any of those things up? I know grief can, very much take a person down and put them into strange mindsets and whatnots. But it bothered me that people thought that she was crying or whining too much, because I can't see any mother that wouldn't act the same way. Joyce is pretty much mom goals. Like, she felt exactly what was wrong. She did not believe it, and she went to work and fought for her baby. I can't see a better way to handle that situation.
Yeah, of course. It's like,
I mean, even if you're not crying that much on the outside, which I would say 70% of mothers would be, you're still crying on the inside. That would be reflected in one form, one way, shape, form, or another. She doesn't reflect it through addiction. She doesn't reflect it through escapism. She reflects it through immersing herself in this puzzle that she's found herself in to save her son. And it's just so complicated yet so simple.
Right. And I think a key example of this is Jonathan. Like, he for a second even thought that she might be crazy, but then he started doing his own Mission Impossible with Nancy, and he's like, okay, wait a minute, my brother might still be out there. And that's what got them into the situation later on down the line. I think we'll get to that in a second. And Joyce's relationship with both of her sons, I think, is really good, because she can read both those boys like only a mother can. Like when Lonnie came back acting hopeful and whatnots, and she found out he was just there to try to get some insurance money, she tested him. He, tried to bold-faced lie and show his quote-unquote commitment, and saying the money could go for Jonathan's college fund. And she's like, okay, well, what college does he want to go to? He can go to anyone. No, dumbass. He's wanted to go to one specific college since he was 6.
University of Phoenix Online? That's the one we got signed up for.
Like, how do you not know that about your kids? So this is how much of a fuck up you've always been. So Lonnie needed to have all the seats, and I'm glad he is just gone.
Yeah. Gone. Throw him out like yesterday's trash. That's because that's where he belongs.
Jonathan's gonna steal his hooker too. You saw the way she was looking at him.
She wanted to trade him in for the younger model. Yeah, and I mean, Joyce, she shows the face of a strong mother, or strong woman, sorry, like, in a single mother, in a time, obviously, in the 80s where it was not taboo, but it was still like, oh, like, she's the single
Right.
mother trying to especially raise two boys by herself. Has like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that helped a lot with her relationship with Jonathan. Like I was saying earlier, she knows exactly how to read her kids, and she says, Jonathan, you're not alone. Eventually, she's like, you always go at things like you think you're alone, and you shoulder all this responsibility, but I'm right here. Even from the very beginning, when Will first disappeared and he said, well, I was working a late shift. I thought we could use the money. And she said, no, that's my job. I need you helping with your brother and getting your education, going to school. Don't worry about working bills. That's not your job. So from jump, she knows her son has taken this responsibility onto himself, but it's a very crushing responsibility the way he goes about doing it. And he is very much a solo act a lot of times until, he really truly starts, putting things together with his mom and putting the clues together and even working with Nancy. I think that helped open him up a little more from the funk that he's been in for so many years. So it's very enjoyable for me to watch Joyce interact with both of her boys.
Yeah, there's a reason why Winona Ryder is the highest paid actor on this show, because she's top bill every episode.
Because the wig costs so much. Quit lying.
But she does her thing.
She's awesome.
But yeah, like, Joyce is that mother, and her motherly instincts, I think, it will obviously play out into the end of this season. But I mean, that mother's intuition is strong with her, and yeah, she wants the best for her kids, and that's what any parent wants. But speaking of the one kid that we can actually see the storyline progress, we have Jonathan, and he talks with Nancy about finding Barb and trying to get Will back at the same time. And yeah, this starts this interesting. It's not like a buddy cop duo. It's like this interesting.
It's your classic 80s montage, teenage duo, or Scooby-Doo type dark mystery monster hunting adventure. You're getting your you remember what was the dang Castlevania? Anybody remember that video game?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's what it made me think about when they were getting the little sledgehammer and the bear traps. I was like, oh my god, I'm thinking about Nintendo. But yeah, I'll just throw that at you, Sasa. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. It's like, but that's basically kind of what you're saying. It's like that detective aspect of like TV, which is played a lot now, especially on TV, and they're going to find Barb and Will, and as well as they talk about the recording. After and all, like, they talk about like the things that had happened, and obviously they team up, and they find the photo that there's the monster in the photo, and they feel like the monster is responsible for Barb disappearing, and that could potentially be.
Why do you put monster in air quotes? I gotta ask that.
Because it may not be a monster.
What?
Or it may be a different name to a monster.
Well, we figured out the guy's name is Steve Sr. So.
Totally. Right. And so they go looking for clues, and Nancy Nancy gets lost as she tries to investigate, and she gets under a tree, and I guess she seemingly enters the Upside Down.
Did anybody else think she was gonna find a Cadbury bunny in there? Sorry.
You are the only one that thought that.
Damn it.
Oh, and he's gone. be back in a second.
The embarrassment. YouTube was like, nah, damn it, you ain't getting away with that bullshit. See,
Your cat,
talking trash because 11 will find you, damn it.
the Cadbury eggs coming
So I
up.
would go ahead and say really quick, just in case I drop, and I may be roboing now. The storms that came through here, another storm came through today. I just got cut off and it booted from Hangouts right then. So if I do drop, y'all know what happened. My internet is stupid redneck internet.
Oh no. Yeah, they find a deer and Nancy goes investigating, and that's how we kind of leave off the episode. Is Nancy screaming for Jonathan, and Jonathan screaming for Nancy. I know that this is an interesting way to end this episode, but it's cool because we bookmark it with the next part.
Well, we find out what happened to Barb, don't we?
Not just yet. I don't believe.
I had to troll on that one.
Yeah.
No,
If any,
save her from the upside down at least, though. I'll save Nancy, not Barb.
yeah, save one of them at least, because I don't think Barb's coming back.
Peter. Oh, sorry.
I said I don't think Barb's coming back because I think she at this time was playing a prominent role on the show Riverdale. So that's why I don't think she comes back, because I knew that was a thing on Twitter.
Can I just say, maybe to get your opinion on it, this is kind of your real introduction to the Upside Down, and I think that this is a really good introduction. It was creepy enough, but gave you enough detail to leave you asking questions to where you can look at things. A lot of these things to me looks like mushrooms and fungal patterns, like I can't even think of the name of the stuff right now because it's off of my brain, but I do have a video on it. I don't think it's going to pan out, but it's you see like what looks like spores. You see what looks like I can't think of the damn mat.
There's a type of worm that clusters together and does look similar to what those spore things look like, but it also reminds me of I think it's a type of mold, and it's like really slimy looking. But if you I saw an experiment they did. They laid out specific points like on a map, and they put a sample on the corner of it, and as it was growing, it basically connected all of those dots in a very specific way. They did it, and I think the stuff in the Upside Down acts very similar to that. Like that's how we got all those tunnels. I don't think the Demogorgon had minions out digging those tunnels. I think it was just the infection and the strain of those weird root things going through the town underground.
And it's called mycelium. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but that's the roots of a mushroom. And it goes, it could be a mixture of those two. Either way, it's super, super duper creepy, absorbent. And I guess, it's
almost like the Blob.
Yeah, it's really odd.
I was gonna say, okay, so the Demogorgon doesn't have little birds like bears.
No, I honestly, I am not going to spoil, but what I will say is I think the Demogorgon is a little bird, in a manner of speaking.
Tweet.
Tweet.
Number one, maybe?
Maybe.
Let's hope not, because boy, that's disastrous.
I know, right?
Ooh.
That's a bad trip.
Nope. That is a nope, is what that is.
So, in the beginning of the next episode / the next part, they obviously get out. Nancy gets out of the Upside Down, and they go back to her house, and it's covered in obviously goo, or from the upside down, and Steve finds, I guess, his lady, with Jonathan, and that doesn't go over too well. I mean, his friends are so stupid. I mean, like, I guess they were written to be like so stupid, but I don't like them. They're like,
No.
they're like the worst.
They're seriously the worst, like, popular guy, mean girl, triplets ever. Just, you had one job, and that was to successfully be a random bully popular kid and be somewhat interesting, but you're just annoying as hell and extremely entitled. And I am glad that little boy got punched in the face so many times.
Can I say I watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Mac and Charlie beat up that group of kids and like punch them in the face and body slam them, like teeth are flying out of the kid's mouth. I was just thinking of that.
Look, sometimes they deserve it. Yeah, that's just like Craig and Smokey getting little badass Chris for kicking over the trash cans all the damn time. Sometimes they deserve a damn whooping.
Oh,
Yeah.
imagine after you guys do like a different version of They Deserved It. Steve. Did Steve deserve it?
Steve absolutely fucking deserved it, little bastard. You fucked up and you knew the girl was mad at you, but your troll ass wanted to ride over to her crib in the middle of the damn night. How creepy is that shit? And because you see this other kid in her bedroom, I understand you could jump to conclusions, but at that point, y'all really weren't on a good tip. So I mean, what did you expect was going to happen, especially after you were such a dick to this kid when his brother had just gone freaking missing, man? And also, side note, what the fuck do the parents be doing in this damn show? How you have a whole ass male child sleeping in the room with your daughter and you don't fucking know?
I tell you what, fathers were
children?
real back then.
Huh?
I was saying fathers were real back then, to AK's point.
Shit.
Yeah.
Let that have been me pulling any type of shit like that. There's no way.
Oh.
And having a lock on your door, for real? No. That would never have worked. And she didn't knock, really. She was just gonna come in, and I get that because that this isn't your room or your things. I bought all this shit, young lady. I can walk wherever the hell I please. And who the fuck is this little boy on the floor in my house?
Well, the thing is, I think because Nancy admitted in the last episode that she and Steve had hooked up, so she thinks that it's Steve, and obviously she doesn't think it's Jonathan.
Either way, it's dumb. But then back to Jonathan, his dumbass. He's so butthurt about the whole situation without even trying to go talk to the girl and find out the facts and what was actually going on. He spray paints some bullshit on a movie theater for the whole town to see. And then you pick a fight with this freaking kid, thinking that because you're the popular guy, you have whatever power you think you have. And Jonathan whooped that ass. And yeah, Steve fucking deserved it.
Steve's hair still looked good at the end, though, so Steve
I don't
wins.
give a fuck about his hair. Him and his hair deserved it. What's up, Jason?
Oh, Chicago, what is up? Oh, Jinx.
Bad, like, what is it? What was it? The movie was All the Right Moves, which I haven't seen that movie, so it makes me like be like, huh? But yeah, the whole thing with like it was nice because the whole thing back to Nancy and Jonathan, it builds up what probably will be their relationship moving forward, because it's like that not trope of friends to it's the friends to lovers trope. So that's probably what's going to happen with them, because I know there's obviously those teams, because you got to have a team in these sort of TV
Right.
shows.
There has to be the varsity team, and the junior varsity has to come in with the assist when needed.
Exactly. So there's obviously Team Jonathan, and then there's Team Steve. But yeah, when that whole scene of the punching and the fighting, I mean, it's completely warranted from Jonathan's perspective to just try and punch out Steve. I mean, yes, it was kind of excessive in the end, but it's pent up anger for probably years of this kind of thing being said, because I'm assuming that Jonathan is an upperclassman, because I don't think they're all in the same grade, because if they are all in the same grade, then that's really weird, because Jonathan looks too old to be in. I think
Well, he's 30.
I want to say that Steve and Jonathan are in the same grade, and Nancy is a year behind them.
I think they're sophomores and Nancy is a freshman. I think, but I could be wrong.
I think someone told us in the last episode club that it was that Nancy's 16 in season 1, so she's a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Oh, then Steve is a junior. Then
yeah, Steve and Jonathan, I think, are juniors.
Jonathan failed a few times. Don't lie, Jonathan.
What are you talking?
Oh, the boy's named John, man. What the fuck's wrong with him?
Yeah. I think when Johnny was watching this, he's like, when Nancy started screaming, Jonathan, he's like, what?
Yeah. What the hell, man? People wouldn't shut the hell up, I'm telling you. No, fight's good. Typical, but they did it in a way that was refreshing and didn't feel like, oh, you're just watching the same old crap. Even though it's tropey, which a lot of it is, they do take those tropes and flip them upside down a lot of times. But then they reel you back in, because this is honestly, how many different TV shows, childhood memories did you think of while watching these 2 episodes? I probably thought of 50. Everything from Dungeons and Dragons to Goonies to I can't even think of the like I said, Scooby Doo to the monster movie,
all that stuff. Yeah, and that's totally done on purpose. You know, the ET references with the bike chase and flipping the van over versus making them fly to get away. And the Duffer Brothers did that purposely. You know, they basically wrapped up 80s childhood nostalgia and put it in this awesome package, and I'm here for it.
I can't wait for season 3. Hey, we should do a pre-stream for season 3 on my channel, and I can catch up so we don't have to do non-spoilers.
Yeah, I have to catch up, but we like this kind of perspective of like half, but or whatever. But yeah, the fight, I mean, it's yeah, and then when obviously Jonathan gets arrested because he assaulted a police officer, and then Steve runs away like a coward / to avoid the police.
Hey, I'm running from the popo too. I'm sorry. I am not staying there to get arrested.
I will commend the fight scene, especially in another regard, is that Steve's friend didn't join in and they didn't like end up jumping Jonathan. It was actually a complete fair fight. Most of the time, actually, that it doesn't work out that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they go to the police station, and then the lady, I can't remember her name from the first or second episode. The secretary. I don't even know if she has a name. But she basically insinuates that that Jonathan and that Jonathan likes Nancy, and she's like, well, we're just friends. It's like, oh, just you wait, kind of thing. And who knows? Something may happen with that. It's yet to be seen, but I think so. Poor Joyce. Now she has to deal with Jonathan getting arrested. Great. The one kid that she probably didn't think would rebel and be all this crazy when he didn't need to, and all of a sudden he's just gets arrested. But it's kind of where we leave the teenagers, almost, I think. Yeah. It's where we leave the teenagers to then go to the kids, or the main crew. And obviously they go to the funeral. They make some remarks basically saying that this isn't Will's funeral, this is his fake funeral. And I guess the popular girl is crying at his funeral, which, I mean, cool. And then they want to go look for Will. So what did we think about like the whole thing with the kids? Because I get to...
Well, I mean, Mike's taking it the hardest, right? He's the one that kind of feels responsible for this. Seemingly, he was the closest to Will. And you can just say that all of these kids are processing their emotions differently as well. Dustin is getting a little more angry with it. Mike's letting himself get immersed with the pain. But this is good, though. It's just driving him to find out what the hell happened as well. Lucas is trying to be the skeptic, which I do like Lucas in that. He always tries to be almost the adult, the voice of reason. They're not having that shit, though. But go ahead.
And that's the thing with Lucas. Like, he does recognize that this is some extracurricular shit that's going down. But I think Dustin called it right. He's a bit jealous of 11 right now. You know, random kid found in the woods has all these cool ass superpowers, and one of his best friends now is just running around head over heels for this girl. They don't know that's what it is just yet, but you can definitely see the spark. And he doesn't know how to handle that. You know, their other best friend is missing, and that's his main focus. You know, so much so that he kind of isolates himself in the way he goes about doing things, and in how he ends up talking, you know, extremely harshly to 11, and by extension Mike. And it's very hard, I think, for Mike to actually see that's what's happening, because one, him and within the group, I think him and Will were the closest. Even though Lucas did live next door to Mike, they definitely were close. Like he said, they're all his best friends. But I think he had a more special relationship with Will. So he is extra. And if there's any kind of chance that 11 can help save him, he's going to go for it gung-ho. And, you know, I can't fault him for that. But then, you know, Lucas comes in and he is almost refusing to see that 11 could be the key. And I don't think he really wants her around because she takes so much of Mike's attention. So like I said, I think Dustin totally called it right, and it's escalated into that random fight, and you know, the group, the party pretty much broke down after that, and they all had to check themselves. You know, Dustin, he said it, you know, I'm the only sane one here. All of you are acting like a bunch of assholes. Yeah, kind of. But, you know, 11 isn't innocent either. Like she said, you know, friends don't lie. And she was scared. For whatever reason, she didn't want to admit that. And they went about doing what they did.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say Dustin gave it to Mike straight. We all been thinking it. Everybody's been thinking it. Come on, man. It's good. It's good. Yeah. It happens to all. Every one of us has seen a friend do that. Or we know that one person that every time they have a boyfriend, girlfriend, they literally cut themselves off from all their friends. But hey, they start calling you up and be like, oh, break up. That's all you got to say. And it just, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You kind of find that out later. There's nothing you can really do to change them from doing that. You can either answer the phone call later or not.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Linda Smith has quickly joined us. She was the winner of Johnny's Big Book giveaway from Game of
Nice.
Thrones.
Congrats, Linda.
Yeah, so she's dropped by for a second. So yeah, I mean the kids, or the middle schoolers, um, they're doing what they can to try and find Will, and they figure out that what L or 11 was saying was that there's basically a parallel world that that basically Will is in this version of the world upside down. And then they have to go look or try and find a way to get him back. Uh, and they ask their teacher if this is even possible, and he's like, yes, but it's
just a theory.
Yeah, and you need basically superhuman strength or amount of energy to make it happen. And they're like, we got
that.
We have that in our back pocket. You just gotta wait for it. And then they realize,
well, y'all didn't notice the updraft and the gale force winds that were sweeping in from the north that hit the cliff at the exact right angle, causing an uplift and a resurgence of might to the top of the cliff. 11 helped a little bit, but
yeah, it was the wind pushing
awesome. How can you not love 11? It's one of the best characters ever.
She is. And speaking of that part with the damn cliff, yeah, that little fuck shit boy that pulled the knife, he fucking deserved it too.
Who the hell is his parents? Like, what the shit, man?
Was his mom not the most ridiculous thing ever? Like, wait, like I get it. I understand all the things that are happening in this story. But you mean to tell me that little boy went home and told her all this nonsense and she actually believed it enough to go to the cops? I really question that.
I mean, it's bad parenting. Like, that's bad parenting. But bye, Liz. Thank you for joining us. But yeah,
Liz.
It's just bad parent. Like, that's like the definition of bad parenting. It's like, this is why I don't get parents of bullies, like especially like people and like all of this stuff. It's like this is not how you do like sports, especially because he's carrying probably a Swiss Army knife in his pocket. It's like, why? I guess this is the 80s and pretty much anything went still in the 80s, but it's like, what?
Yeah, it's still a bit absurd.
And yeah, so we go and we find with 11, and she breaks his arm, which it's complete, like, yes, we're inciting children on children violence, but it's pretty much warranted because of the fact, like, he was going to potentially do some damage, so 11 was taking precautionary action. And it's funny when they're like, yeah, don't come back here because we got her and she'll do whatever she wants.
Crazy.
Yeah, we got a crazy girl, but she's on our side. And
but then again, with that little boy, if that hadn't happened, then Hopper wouldn't be able to, put some more things together for their clues, because hearing him talk about 11, that's how he knew that that's what was going on with the little girl. And then him and Joyce set out on part 2 of their Goonie adventure.
So I just want to say something really quick with the knife. And I went to school in the 90s, graduated in like 02 or whatever. But when I was in 4th, 5th grade, I could think of many kids that just had knives, pocket knives.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a thing. And when you go back and think about it, it's like, whoa, that's crazy. So what? I don't know. I'm not going to get in this philosophical conversation, but it makes me think, what the hell has happened? Because, yeah, we had violence, we had this and that, but nothing really bad happened until Columbine and then shitstorm. But, that's a topic for another day. That's a very divisive. Sorry for being such a controversial asshole. That's me, Johnny B. Crazy. Check me out on Johnny B. Crazy.
Shameless plug.
Aye. No doubt, no doubt. But what were we talking about? Dustin. Love Dustin. You gotta love Dustin. Did
Yep.
Tata just freeze at the weirdest angle? There we go.
Yeah, I froze for a second. Yeah, like because in this 11, this because it's before the whole Mike trying to jump off, but then he gets saved by 11. She goes to the grocery store and she makes a beeline.
Wait. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I have
Tell
to
that asshole.
because this little bastard always comes in the fucking scenes when if you say a character's name that he likes too much, he will pop up and
He's a stalker.
spew all types of fuck shit into the damn chat. Dustin did nothing wrong, my ass, and shut up because Kenzie isn't all the way up to that. So stop your spoilers there, BBM.
Yeah, man. Just go put that.
Shush!
I sent him some forehead polish that I use personally myself. It works really well. It keeps it a little less shiny on camera.
This is how he repays that favor.
You know me.
Yeah.
Young man, tisk tisk.
Yeah, it's like
What's up, fandom? You ever coming on here to talk some Stranger Things? Peer pressure, man.
Right.
Yeah. Or have you let out the Cersei Funko from her box yet
He
today?
fell asleep on that stream. But yeah, the Cersei Funko. And he just can't live it down.
Yeah, he probably falls asleep hugging that damn Funko.
He keeps one out of the box, like to let it breathe. I think at one point.
Let it breathe.
To let it breathe. That's I suppose that's the way of saying it.
I mean, yeah. It just makes me think, you know, there's something very dastardly with his obsession. And you like that word, don't you? But it is. You know, there's a little bit of lust in his eyes every time you bring up the word Funko. And then if you put Cersei in there, holy smokes, have you hit the jackpot with BBM or Fandom Descent?
He said, honestly, I woke up the next day with back pains. I probably slept on it. No lie.
See?
The next day? You mean this morning?
Oh, goodness.
But anyway.
Yeah, he can bring us back on track, I guess.
The night is dark and full of Funkos.
In between the last episode and this one, when 11 did go on her solo, 5-minute adventure, she goes to the grocery store and she makes the beeline for the Eggo waffles, and she steals 4 or 5 boxes, or steals for 3 or 4 boxes of Eggos, and she blows up the store, kind of, or at least blows out the windows.
No, she blows out the door because the I think it was either general manager or the owner was chasing her because she is stealing waffles. But a little bit before that, all he saw was this random little girl with a short haircut, which obviously is not common in their town. And she's all dirtied up, has dry blood around her nose. And, he tries to say, are your parents' hair here? Do you need help? And she just looks at him like, mouth breather. I'm like, okay, first of all, teenage attitude. We didn't need that shit, 11. Calm yourself. And then she goes and steals the damn Eggos. And the guy tries to stop her. And she just says, nope. Boom, door blows up. And kudos to him for knowing that was his cue to stop, because he did not try to follow her out after that.
No.
And does anyone else think we're seeing the origin story of Sinead O'Connor in 11? Right? Because like you said, nothing compares to you. Sasa has no idea who the hell I'm talking about.
I was about to say, she's a little too young.
I mean, I kind of know, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, eh.
It's just the same haircut. But it is odd if you see a little girl, especially back then.
Back then is extremely odd. So she totally stood out. I mean, never mind the raggedy look that she had, but little girls just did not walk around with shaved heads. Yeah. I mean, of course, she doesn't know that, though. She didn't know that she needed to stay in disguise. She has no knowledge of the outside world. She's totally winging it. But I mean, did she not think she might need a heat source to actually make those waffles taste good when she ate them? Like, they came straight out the freezer. What were you planning on doing with that, 11?
I guess from her walk from the store to where she sat in the forest, they kind of warmed up a little bit. But
I know people that have eaten frozen waffles before. She did this, but it's not that common. And you would think, I know it's got to be a front to Canadian mankind that she doesn't use any type of maple syrup. That's got to bother you. So.
Yeah.
I mean, maple syrup is delicious. So, yeah, you stole the waffles, but you ain't try to steal no butter or syrup to go with it. It's a very bland waffle. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, I haven't had Eggo waffles in about over 5 years, like 6 years now.
10 points from Hufflepuff. What the hell?
Gluten allergy.
Like it?
So, yeah, like, I haven't, like, knockoff waffles, but I can imagine, like, because they were plain, they probably didn't taste as good. But yeah.
Tastes like that Elvis bread that Sam and Frodo had to eat, probably.
No, Elvis bread was made by the freaking elves of Lothlorien. That shit was probably delicious. One freaking bite and it fills the stomach of a grown ass man. Come on now. Don't do this to Elvis bread. What's wrong with you?
You got me on that. Okay.
I'm sorry. Damn it.
The funny thing too is that she like leaves all of those boxes. She probably only ate like 2 or 3, and then she like leaves the rest of them just out in the forest somewhere. So now like a bunch of squirrels will have a brunch party in the forest. Am I
which Black Dynamite Phantom Descent, the cartoon or the live action movie with Jaleel White? Because that shit is hilarious, man. I can't believe you just made me think. I'm going to have to watch Black Dynamite. Oh my gosh. So good. And I'm going to get you sucker if you've never seen that movie.
I'm going to get you sucker all the medals on your jacket. Fucking love
that movie. Oh my gosh. That's my shit.
On his jacket says.
I'll have to get Safa to watch that stuff right there. Those are classics. Okay.
I'm not a Hufflepuff. I think I'm a mixture of, I think I was like Ravenclaw, and I've gotten Ravenclaw a couple times, but then I've also gotten Gryffindor on, because I've taken the test a couple times.
Are you a Weasley? Is that what it is? You're a secret Weasley?
Well, I have the hair for it, so.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
you gotta wonder, which one was it that stepped out? Molly or Arthur? Whose bastard are you?
The world may never know. Yeah, she goes
Although
on.
I think being a bastard of House Weasley would probably be pretty damn awesome.
Dornish Flinch, I don't think you're alone because I swear everybody's a Hufflepuff. They just don't admit it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably like part Hufflepuff somewhere, you know. I've just gotten. Fandom.
Nobody cares, fandom. Just
okay, you know what, young man? 5. I don't like taking points away from my own house, but 5 points for not knowing how to spell that man's name. That is not how you spell Gryffindor.
No, it's not. Even I know that.
Gryffindor.
This guy.
Southern drawl on it.
So I'm the only proud one. No, there's.
Hey, do y'all have any Stranger Things questions from the first 4 episodes? Do you want to give Sasa a pop quiz? And I know we probably got more stuff to talk about this.
Well, the only thing left is just that the bad men are after them.
The bad man. Make the bad man fly.
That's the last scene, is just the bad men are preparing to go get them. That's the last one. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought that scene was pretty freaking sweet. And I do like, again, seeing the relationship that Will had with Jonathan. You know, Jonathan said, you know, well, I don't know exactly where they would be, but I could tell you how we can talk to him and find out, because he knows his little brother has a walkie-talkie that he connects on the same frequency with his friends. So chances are one of them, at least one of them, is going to have a walkie-talkie on them wherever they are, and they'll be able to connect. And this is where, you know, we see like all the heroes and their different journeys start to come together to compare notes and actually go on the final quest, which takes place over the next our last 2 episodes, I believe.
My gosh, I can't put it any better than that. It's kind of perfect. Going back to the Dungeons and Dragons theme, which I still think we need to at least get a private league set up for that if anybody needs the directions. I have the whole manual on my computer here. So does John St. Baptiste. Anyways, it's hard to kind of top what you said, but yes, that's what these children are doing. The parents are doing. The teenagers are doing. Everybody except the gargoyle dad of Mike's. And also, I have no idea what that man hooker Jonathan's dad is doing. And I will not call him by his name. I will call him Father of the Year. But unfortunately, that reminds me of stuff from my childhood. I'm not saying like my dad was exactly like that or anything, but there's circumstances, maybe other family members that are really, it hits home. And especially this part with him only caring about the money. The good thing about this is only going to confirm and reaffirm everything Joyce believes and is looking for right here as well. Jonathan, luckily for him, either one of two things happen when you're in a situation like this. You either end up exactly like your father or completely opposite and want nothing to do with how that person acts. And anybody that acts in that way is going to repulse him. And that's kind of how Steve is mirroring his father's relationship a little bit at this point. And it's kind of, you know, give Steve's character a chance. But yes, I hate him at this point.
Yeah.
But just like real life, these characters are complicated. And they're both good and bad. I don't think we have any innocent characters. You could say the kids are innocent, but they all make mistakes. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Jonathan, he like Joyce said, he decided at a very young age what college he wanted to go to. I think that he already saw all of the fuck shit that was his dad and assessed the situation correctly as a child, and he made a decision that he was not going to end up being like that. Like, you can tell he has a lot of animosity for his dad, and he's trying to be the better person at all times. Hence him trying to work extra hours to bring in money to help his mom, being so careful, looking out for his little brother. I mean, the first time we see this kid, he's in the kitchen cooking breakfast for him and his mom and his brother. You know, the amount of responsibility this kid takes on, I would imagine, happened at exactly when their dad left or they divorced or whatever the situation was. And that speaks, I think, very well for Jonathan's character. I love that he can assess situations like that. You know, like to reference his argument with Nancy when they were going, you know, Demogorgon hunting. Nancy tried to be all prissy and whatnot, and he put her in her place, and he described it accurately. You know, I might be a random loner or whatever. Yes, I was wrong for taking those pictures. You know, he owns up to his mistakes when he makes them. But then again, Nancy, you're just like every small town, you know, goody two-shoe girl that thinks they're rebelling, and you're going to end up just doing the same thing once that phase is over, and you're going to turn into your mom and marry a guy that resembles your dad, and you're going to end up being as boring and ridiculous as you thought your parents were. So spare me the bullshit. I need to go try to find my brother.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that helps Nancy actually get herself in gear, because she's pretty helpful for the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, it's that almost like kick in the butt, you can say, to be like, hey, wake up, hello, kind of thing. Penn State wanted me to answer the question of why was basically why Will's brother is creepy as F. Why is he taking photos at a get together he's not invited to?
Because okay, this can I say really quick?
Yeah.
This is I can't justify the picture he took of Nancy, but I can justify him taking these pictures of where his brother went missing and a person who he thinks might be shady, another teenager who could be involved in the disappearance of his brother, is right there. You might as well take some pictures, see what they're up to. Because when you look at a lot of stuff, it's usually something like that. It's someone close, someone you know, or somewhere near where he left is, that might not be where the body is, but that might be where the person stumbled upon their prey. That's not an excuse for being a creep, though. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
No.
I think he was there, thinking that any one of them had actually taken his brother. I think he did definitely want to go investigate the situation, and photography is his hobby. When he goes to college, that's probably what he's going to study. And he just happened to, take pictures that, I don't think he thought anything would come of them, but he decided to take those pictures. And had he not done that, and like I said before, he did own up to his mistake. He knows that he wasn't right for doing that either. But the thing that he got, he caught in trouble with wasn't because of the picture he took of Barb. It was because of the picture he took with Nancy. Now, had he not been there taking pictures, though, we would not have gotten the clues about Barb and the Demogorgon, because that picture with Barb is how we found the Demogorgon was in the forest that night, right behind Steve's parents' house. So it like, again, he was wrong. Yes, he admitted that. He didn't try to shy away from that. He totally admitted his faults. But on the other side, there was very sound reasoning why he should have been there, and fate had him take that picture, pretty much.
I couldn't have said it better myself, because you guys wrapped it in a pretty nice bow. But you have to also have, you kind of have to add that layer for that type of character to be that little bit of creepiness. But obviously, with his blossoming relationship with Nancy, it's obviously breaking down those barriers. And Venom just saying brings warmth to my heart when people tell me about their Funko sightings, because Peter Griffin says that he went to Wally World Mart and saw the wall of Funkos, and he almost bought the brand with the cat's paw tag.
And fandom says, that he could use the same excuse with Dustin. Which excuse are you saying? I wasn't given an excuse. Jonathan didn't give his explanation as an excuse. It was simply that, an explanation of what was happening. He didn't use it as an excuse. He owned up to it. He said he was wrong for it. So where's the comparison with Dustin?
I don't know, but he's
I don't even know what the hell is going on right now. But I swear, no.
To elaborate, BBM. Thank you.
He's asking, and then he asked if it says Q&A. You buying any Stranger Things Funkos? Almost have one for each character. I don't know, but I saw that that there's the new, I guess the new one for season 3, like the one that they made for Steve. It's was like $50 at some, because I guess it was Baskin Robbins. It's like exclusive. One was like exclusive to Baskin Robbins, and some of them were charging like $50 at the store to buy it, not like online, like on eBay or something like that. So it's like, I don't know.
That's expensive.
Yeah,
I don't plan on getting any Funkos. That's not my passion for collecting. I collect shot glasses and random sharp objects. every now and then.
The sharp.
So I don't know if Funkos are in my future.
I don't know. I don't know.
Are you planning on buying any Funkos for Stranger Things?
Well, if a Funko magically falls into my lap for free, I will. And if my funds get a little higher up and I can afford a Funko. Yes, or if one of my lovely fans sends me a Funko, I could get one that way.
You have
But
one of yourself
not
already, which is
It's not a
insane.
real one though. It's a piece of paper, but still cool, you know. It's a good looking Funko at least.
Yeah, sell it.
Oh, can I give my rankings really quick? Because
Yes, because we were wrapping up
It'll
anyway.
be the same ranking system, like what it is. So I give episode 3 and 8 pretty good, you know. But episode 4, that's the right episode, right?
Yes, you.
Okay.
No,
I
you.
give
Episode 5 and 6.
5 and
episode
6.
5, I'm sorry. I give it an 8. And episode 6, I give it a 9. And they will be Hopper Hobo Humdingers. And what we've seen from 11, that harrowing experience she goes through, everything that happens with Will from the bullies. I really loved the nostalgia and throwbacks of the 6th episode for sure. This is maybe one of my favorite episodes of the season. Not my favorite, but it's definitely a strong 9 for me. And that's my opinion, though. But watch out for those hobo humdingers. You'll wake up all groggy and not remembering shit like Hopper does.
Hopper.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I will. I'll pretty much mirror that. I will give 5 and 8.5 and 6 a solid 9 Joyce Byers mom goals.
Nice. And for me, I'll give this episode, episode 5, 8.5, and 8.5, and then 9. 11's Ego Endeavors, 3 E's. And so the next, I guess we can. So the next episodes are the last 2 for the season are the bathtub and the upside down, which we will be covering on Saturday. So then next Wednesday will be the first 2 episodes of season 2. But AK, where can everybody find you and what you're doing on your channel, all that fun stuff?
Let's see. Well, I believe sometime Saturday afternoon or evening, myself, T-Baby, and Sweet YFT will be discussing the topic of Bran Stark. We might have a couple other guests on with us. Have not confirmed that just yet. Let's see. Don't think I have anything else to watch on Sundays anymore just yet. But on, was it Tuesday? Maybe? Yeah, Tuesday. I will be live reacting to season 2, episode 2 of Pose, which is a very good show on FX. You guys should definitely check it out. I have not yet figured out how I'm going to do the live reactions for Stranger Things just yet, but once I do, I will let you guys know. Me and Johnny are in the works still. We got to pinpoint a date with our schedules for the next round of They Deserved It. We may possibly have a guest on for this. I'm not sure who just yet. We need to, have our Ravens schedule a meeting so we can get everyone together. And outside of that, you can always catch me in the chats and hanging with my lovely folks up here on this panel. Hopefully, me and Timo Lisi might be doing a couple discussions coming up once she catches up to a few shows. So stay tuned. And
Definitely
thank you,
do that.
Nancy, for having me on again. Episode Club is always fun. Always happy to hang with my homies.
No problem. It's always fun. It's the reason why I did it. Because just to have fun talking about TV shows. Johnny, what you got going on?
So lots of stuff happening. First off, my patrons, what's up? Watch party's happening Sunday, so that'll be open. Come watch some stuff with us. Trying to still figure out what we'll be binging or what we'll be watching. It's kind of open. Hey, if you get there first, you can recommend something. Whatever. No, I love you guys. So, Monday, Nooners in Space. We'll be talking about The Expanse, Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, covering for sure to be me and Mackenzie, but we might have someone else on. Hope we do. Just got done with Leviathan's Wake. What a damn good book. Go check it out. James S.A. Corey, Leviathan's Wake. It's the Expanse series. I'm about to get into the next one, Caliban's War. It's awesome, and it's a nice, simplistic read. Not dumbed down simplistic, but if you compare it with the Song of Ice and Fire, you can read it a little faster. You don't have to try to figure out because it's not written in a different dialect, so to speak, and probably not using the words right. But also, Nooners News will be coming out. I don't know. I might just do that on Wednesdays now. We have Septuagint Secrets, Nooners of Locations and Lore. I'm editing up that beautiful hour and 45-minute podcast. If my upload speed works in time, we'll be doing it around noon on Friday with a premiere live chat. It'll be nice and rewatchable. There's a beautiful slideshow. It's already got 100 and something slides in it already. And I'm only halfway done with it. Or it'll be out Saturday around noon. And it'll be before Sasa comes on with Stranger Things. So it'll be like a little double header for y'all to have fun. After that, we'll be doing a Nooners of Ice and Fire, talking about Blood Moon, the Game of Thrones prequel, The Long Night. I'll tell you why it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I do have reservations about it, but there's a lot we can talk about. We can get into a little bit of the Azor Ahai myth, the first Long Night myth. There's not much text there. It would literally take me less than 5 minutes to read you everything we know about the Long Night that's happened before. It still is fun because there's a lot of speculation and little clues hidden here and there. I think that's it for now, but you be on the lookout for a Stranger Things video, Stranger Things pre-stream, like AK said, that they deserved it. Some more podcasts, Quickies of Ice and Fire are coming. Still working on writing some scripts. But as you know, I do 10 million things because I just can't help myself. So, love you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much, Sasa, for having me on. And I will shut the hell up and a little finger gun for Danny McKay. Pew!
Yes, finger guns for Danny McKay. But for me, and on this channel here, we have episode 7 and 8 on Saturday around 2 o'clock, just so we can have new people show up if they're ever so inclined to join us, because it's so much fun, and also to catch up, because we got to do that before season 3. Then obviously next week we'll do more episodes. There's not really much upload wise right now coming on, like recorded videos, but they'll be coming soon. I just have to work on those. You can obviously follow all of both Johnny and AK on Twitter, because why not do that? And yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on Patreon. I'm going to be putting out the poll for the special stream for this month tomorrow. So if you're, I don't think anybody who here is, but I'll be putting that poll out tomorrow for the special stream, and probably the update for when the famous butt stream will show up. It'll probably be more closer to con than anything, and yeah, all that stuff coming down the pipeline. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us. Tiny Chicago, Fandom DC, Johnny Be Crazy, Alicia Kingston, Danny McKay, Dornis Wench, Tiny Chicago. So many people right here in the chat. If I can scroll up far enough.
Linda R. and Linda Smith were in earlier as well.
Blue Rooster, Liz Coppett.
Yes.
DA.
Yeah, OTDA.
Linda Smith?
Everybody. Yeah, Peter Griffin.
Yes,
So
Peter
many,
was.
so many people joined us in the chat, and also shout out to the lovely patrons: Bobby Catalano, Catherine Harding, Dark Mother, and hold on, it's coming to me. I haven't done like they usually do. Wait, one. It's like Nisty. No,
I don't know. You better
trying
look
to
it up
remember.
real quick.
I'm trying to
And I'll
remember.
just talk
I
to these
just do.
people for a
Hold
second.
on.
You better look it up.
I'm trying to
Uh,
remember it.
I have
Like
to do
I have it written down. I just have to get it.
You have 1,000 names in your head from 15 TV shows and 4 books. I mean, come on, it's gonna happen. But I am changing my name to Johnny B. Lazy because it's just apt for me. I am so sorry for letting you guys down. And Tawny Chicago, you should feel loved, especially in this chat. There's nothing but love here. You know, we will scream at you occasionally, but it's only to give you pleasure, whatever the hell that means.
I was right.
You were right. You got it right.
I got them all.
Well done.
Bobby, Catherine, Dark Muller, and NCT. I got them all right. Yes.
Please remind me about the Saturday stream so I can maybe make it. But it is Pride weekend next weekend, so I might not be able to. Just FYI.
It's okay. But yeah, they're on, and usually they're if on Patreon. That's where I usually do the first polls. So once this is over, I know Westworld was. I'll put this in a post on Patreon. But once this is over, we have to figure out the new show, because we'll be over this show mid-July, I think, if we keep going like this. So we'll figure that
Oh
out.
shit. While I'm thinking about it, The Witcher, the release date is set. So there'll be a stream coming out about that very soon.
So we'll enjoy that. Follow Johnny, and you'll be updated on when that happens. So, and you gotta have so much fun. So, bye everyone.
Hasta.